on my tombstone it's going to say, she tried, because I want to try my hand at all the things that interest me. This thing about me wanting to do TV and act and sing and dance and be a fire eater and a juggler, that sounded like very much a possibility. I looked it over first because I was a business lady, and I was like, I don't think this is a good contract.
What did that moment actually cost you?
And for 7 years, Andrew Cohen tried to put me on different shows. I'm not here to convince you that I'm worthy. That I don't think of it as bravery, because it didn't even occur to me that it could go away. And I said, it gets greater later. I've done a lot of things. I've had a lot of success, but I have not yet reached my pinnacle. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Yeah, they want more.
Welcome to the Her Agenda podcast. On this episode, I have Bevy Smith. Bevy is many things. She's a Harlem girl, a former advertising executive, a TV personality, a radio host, an actress, an author, and honestly, one of the most compelling examples of what it looks like to bet on yourself, not once, but repeatedly over decades. She walked away from a six-figure career at 38 years old to start over. She turned down bad contracts when she had every reason to say yes, trying to get your foot in the door. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'll make it work better next time. She said, no, thank you. She went broke, stayed the course, and came out on the other side. At Her Agenda, we talk about ambition, but what we really care about is the stuff underneath it. The decisions that no one sees, the moment where you have to choose yourself, when it's inconvenient, when it's expensive, and when it's scary. Bevy has lived all of that out loud, and today she's here to take us all behind the scenes. Bevy, it is an honor to be able to sit with you today on the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that amazing intro, my love. I'm going to just take you around with me and let you intro me everywhere.
I need to, yes, to all the fabulous events and all of the fabulous dinners and things like that.
Thank you.
So I always love doing deep research on people, although I've seen you out and about over the years. We see each other here and there. We kiki, we high five, we kiss. But I study people before I sit down. And one of the quotes that you said stood out to me. Once you conquer a goal, it's time to go.
Oh, yeah.
You said that in a previous interview.
Yeah.
What would you say, though, to a woman who knows she's done, but is afraid to admit it? Like, what is the first step?
Well, the first step is to admit it. I think oftentimes, especially as Black women that achieve certain, goals and aspirations, once we hit the mark, we're always so happy to get there, like most folks.
Yes.
But then we become very grateful, which is a good thing.
Yep.
But we can be stuck in the gratitude. And what that does is it renders us unable to really move because we feel like, oh, wow, I got to this place that I always wanted to go to. My ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yes.
How can I say no to this? How can I walk away from something?
Holding on to that.
We hold on to it for far too long. And I refuse to be that person. So, I hit my marks and then I'm like, well, what's the next mark? But it's not in this way of like it's never good enough. It's more like I know that God gave me all these gifts, these talents, and these dreams. And before I close my eyes, I'm going to make sure that on my tombstone it's going to say, she tried, because I want to try my hand at all the things that interest me.
So one of the things that really stands out, and we hear this story all the time about your six-figure career that you walked away from. $350,000 was the exact amount. In 2005 at Rolling Stone. And you were 38 years old and you had bigger dreams. Most people would say that's too risky, too late. But something in you said, although on the outside, the circumstances don't look right, this is the time. What was it internally that said, this is the time that you said, despite all of the things, I'm going to do it now?
Well, I didn't feel like there were any risk at doing it.
Okay.
You have to remember, it was 2005. So this is before personal brands. This is before people are quitting their jobs to pursue fulfillment. I had studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I knew that self-actualization was what I was seeking.
Okay.
And when I realized that I was never going to be self-actualized by being a advertising sales executive or working even in the fashion industry, I knew I had to do something else. And so I dug really deep to try and find out who I was at my core. I'm sure you're familiar with my theory of the red soul proposition, which is something I created to really find out who I was and what I wanted to do. And it was me tapping in to figure out who I was at my core. Not who I was professionally, not who I was as a daughter or as a fiance or girlfriend, none of that.
Okay.
Who I am at my core. And then how was I being perceived? And the final question I asked myself, how did I want to be perceived? And how I wanted to be perceived had to go back to who I was at my core. And I knew that I had to have that through line.
To have that alignment.
I had to have that alignment. And so that's what was on my mind when I quit that job. I had no idea. I was so foolhardy. When I tell you, girl, I had no idea that there was a chance that it wouldn't work.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because I had already been so successful in beating the odds. Because you have to remember, I was working in luxury fashion at a time when there weren't a lot of Black people working in luxury fashion.
That's facts.
Andre Leon Talley spotted me when I was like a young woman, my first time ever in Paris, and I was like maybe 28 years old. And that's where I met Andre Leon Talley.
Okay.
But there weren't a lot of Black people outside of Andre, outside of Beth Ann, working in luxury fashion.
Yeah.
We had urban fashion, but luxury, not that many Black people. So for me to be in that very lofty, heady space of luxury fashion and be from 150th Street and 8th Avenue in Harlem, and to also be chocolate and to also be curvy and not want to be like a slender model girl.
Yep.
For me to do all those things and come through through shining.
You're just like, this is the next impossible thing I'm going to do.
It wasn't even impossible,
for
though.
you. Yep.
I felt like the first hurdles I had to get through were pretty impossible. This thing about me wanting to do TV and act and sing and dance and be a fire eater and a juggler, that sounded like very much a possibility.
And then you get to the moment where Bravo gave you a contract. This is in the beginning days. And you had two women you trusted look it over and they were like, this is bad.
I looked it over first because I was a business lady and I was like, I don't think this is a good contract. Then I gave it to the two people that I really trusted, Monique Chenault and Kim Bondi. And they were both women who had really extensive experience in television.
Yeah.
And they both said, oh yeah, this is a bad contract. Don't sign this. I took it back to the lawyer. He's like, well, yeah, okay, let's go back and renegotiate. And Bravo was like, yeah, no. We're not going to negotiate. You take it or you leave it. And there was so much pressure. TV is so funny. They put so much pressure on you. And by the way, this was not Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen was working for Bravo at the time.
Okay.
He was an executive. He was not the head honcho of Bravo. So I want to be very clear about that. The Bravo was essentially like, so yeah, we're ready for you to shoot this, but we need to know right now. You're about to go and meet with Tim Gunn. We need to know immediately. You need to sign this contract. And I was like, what should I do? And my lawyer said, you don't really have a choice. And I said, well, we always have a choice. So I don't think I'm going to sign it. Because in my mind, I was like, well, I just kind of quit this job and already I have a TV offer.
Yeah.
That means I'm supposed to be doing TV. And that means if I got a TV offer that easy, surely I'll get another one really easily.
Okay. That's what was going through your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it took some time after
years,
that.
which is a number of completion.
7 years. Okay. Yeah, because that's what I wanted to know. What was going through your mind to walk away from that? And then what did that moment actually cost you? So
what went on in my mind was really very much, I was like, well, if they saw the talent in me, if they saw my gift, if my audition reel was so tasty, and then later on, Andy actually called for me to meet with him and his boss at the time, a wonderful woman named Amy Introcaso Davis.
Okay.
And he said, come in and meet with us. And when I walked into the to the office, Andy said, you're even better in real life than you were on tape. And as we chatted, he said, we're going to work together.
Okay.
And for 7 years, Andrew Cohen tried to put me on different shows.
Okay. So that was what was happening in those 7 years.
Well, a lot more was than just that.
Yeah.
But that's the Andy Cohen of it all.
Uh-huh.
That he saw the talent in me.
Okay.
And he consistently tried to get me on different shows.
Yeah.
Pilots that didn't go, just like always just, oh, I think this would be great. The thing I want your audience to know, though, is that I was not waiting on Andy to give me anything.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, in between time, I created Dinner with Bevy.
Okay.
Yeah. And when Dinner with Bevy became a hit and I actually got some press, I sent that press over to Andy. Say, look at what I'm working on. Look at what I've done. And he would always be like, this is great. And I did lots of other things. I started doing lots of TV.
Okay.
And so, even though I was broke, I always say I was blissful.
Okay.
Because I quit my job to do all this TV and to write. And I was actually doing all those things. I just didn't have any money.
Yeah.
I was broke but blissful.
Yeah.
Not like sometimes you may not have the money.
Your social capital at the time.
I was
in that world.
Yes.
You already had social capital, but then bringing it to another world.
Yeah. Sometimes you can know that you're on the right path, but the money is just not lining up.
Yes.
And you just have to keep going is what I always tell people.
Yeah.
If you see it clearly.
Okay.
Now, if you're like not doing what you love, you're sacrificing, who you are, the core of who you are, and you ain't making no money, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so a lot of that is also, the art of negotiation. And you had the conviction to be able to walk away when it didn't work, when it wasn't aligned. How has your negotiation style changed from then to now, if it has changed?
I don't know if it's really changed. I've always loved to negotiate. I'm that rare breed of woman that loves to actually do her own negotiations.
Okay.
So recently, actually last year, I decided to take back the reins of my own business and really start going out into the streets and securing my own deals.
Okay.
Because, of course, you have agents, you have representatives and all that kind of stuff. And I will still have people doing that kind of work, but I will also now be having a firm hand on my business. So I love to negotiate.
Okay.
I love to have the conversations around money. I also feel like no one can sell me better than I can.
That's true.
Because when I walk into the room and when I have a conversation with you, you're going to start to understand the why of why you need to pay me what you're paying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a businesswoman, you understand both sides and you can better explain, here's why I'm asking for this change from
here's
both
the thing,
sides.
though. So check this part out. This is a really revolutionary thought. I actually don't tell them that.
Okay.
I have conversations with people.
Yeah.
I chat with the folks.
Okay.
And then from that, you understand why I'm worthy of what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
I'm not here to convince you that I'm worthy.
The biggest thing to me that you didn't seem to have is that fear of the opportunity going away. I think a lot of people are afraid.
Foolhardy, girl. That's not like that. I don't think of it as bravery because it didn't even occur to me that it could go away.
Yeah.
I was so convicted. I just knew that I was right for this. I knew that I was good TV. I knew that I was great talent. So why would I fear it going away? I know these things about myself.
Yeah.
A healthy self-confidence is key to actually succeeding in these kinds of fields.
Yeah. I would say it's beyond healthy self-confidence. Yeah. And we talk about a lot of it now where they use words manifestation, affirmation, all of these terms. But like you said, back then, people weren't talking like that. And so for you to have lived that and known that in your soul and then be where you are now, it is such a testament that it is true. And so thank you for sharing the journey and the story and being that girl that just had this belief that no one could shake.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I did have some help. I have a couple of things that I used when I was right as I was about to quit Rolling Stone.
Okay.
The books that shored me up. The 4 Agreements.
Okay, yeah.
The Artist's Way.
Uh-huh.
And Jay-Z's Black Album.
Okay.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Yeah, they want more.
Yes, that's the toolkit, everybody.
What more can I say? What more can I do? This is my life. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
And you talk a lot. You talk a lot about the people who helped. And I think that's important. Your champions, mentors, people that you've looked up to. But what about your friends? You have a lot of lifelong friends.
Yeah.
How do you maintain those friendships as you evolve, as your world changes constantly? It's not easy, especially with our friends also being in their own worlds. They're becoming moms. They're becoming entrepreneurs maybe for the first time too. They're also juggling kids and that whole schedule. So how do you maintain those lifelong friendships?
I think you make the effort, right? Like, so if your friends are really important to you, you stop down. First of all, living life makes you a better creative.
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah.
You cannot be inspired by just like doing the work. That's not, you can, creative has to be in the world, experiencing things, seeing different types of people, and experiencing different situations.
Yeah.
So for me, like I had a dear friend who passed away just recently.
I already hear that.
Yeah, and she was a gift. And Shay, we have a club called the 80s Ladies, and we've been friends since the 80s, hence our name.
Yeah.
But Shay was a manager at UPS, and Shay was like one of my, like, she grounded me in such a wonderful way. She's smart, witty, pretty. She was a woman's woman.
Yeah.
She was a straight shooter. But when I was broke, it was Shay who was like calling me and saying, girl, get up, get dressed. I'm going to take you to dinner at P.F. Chang's. It was like her calling me and saying, get up. Let's go to karaoke at the, the bar on 125th Street. She was the one who was like, I'm going to see you through this. You don't have to sit home and just wonder like what's going to happen next. I'm going to make sure that you're still living life.
Yep.
And those experiences really helped me get out of my kind of like, my own head of like what's gonna happen next. So you need your friends. And so for me, because I'm aware of the fact that I need my friends, I nurture those friendships.
Okay. Do you spend like hours on phone calls? How do you?
Before I came here, little lady, I was on the phone with Derek, Miss Lawrence, and Terrellish.
Okay.
And we were on the phone for an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, just chatting, shooting.
Pick up the phone.
I'm a big believer in picking up the phone. As a matter of fact, I'm in a season of collaboration. So I've just been calling folks that I've known over the years and saying, what you up to? What you working on?
Yeah.
Because I just feel really juicy right now, which is why I even decided to do this podcast.
Talk about it, too.
Really juicy.
You have something new that you're debuting.
Yes,
and
I
we
am.
love to hear that.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about it.
I have In Bed with Bevy.
Okay.
It is my YouTube show that I created that I'm self-funding. And it's me laid up in bed, sharing my own musings, my thoughts, and much of what I do on social media. I actually do In Bed with Bevy on social media, on Instagram. But now it's going to be long form and it's going to be shot beautifully. And I'm also going to have guests. So my first guest is Justin Sylvester from E! News.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about the fact that, he really wanted that job, the Jenna and Friends job on the Today Show that went to Chanel. And he's very happy for Chanel. But what does that mean for his career now? What's next? So I talk a lot on my show about being in the middle because I'm in the middle. Most people don't want to be in the middle because they think it's uncomfortable space. So for myself, I'm 59 years old and I'm in the middle. It's like, shouldn't I be at the top already?
What do you mean by the middle?
It's literally, you're not at the bottom, you're not at the A, you're damn sure ain't at the Z. So you're somewhere in the middle. So, I've done a lot of things. I've had a lot of success, but I have not yet reached my pinnacle, but I will. But right now, I want to show people the journey.
Okay.
I want to show people what it's like to be in the middle of a journey, about the times when you're feeling defeated, the times when you get something that you're like, oh, wow, this could be it. This is the big one. I want us to like see, witness. I want us to bear witness to people who are moving through this journey. And I want it to be a bit of a time capsule because I want people to come on and talk about being in the middle. And then in 3 years' time, when they've hit the pinnacle,
when they
we'll be able to play it.
Okay.
Child, remember when you was in the middle? Remember when you were like, I don't even know what I'm going to do with X, Y, and Z. And I'm trying to figure it out. And then we'll be able to press play and be like, look at you. Look at how far you've come.
Do you know when it's coming out?
Yes. We have the first episode that's going to be coming out February, the end of February. So like 27th or something like that.
Okay. Perfect. And you're self-funding it, which is huge.
Yeah.
Because you get the control, the independence of the creative direction. But ultimately, you're looking to align with maybe a brand or a network. Like, what is your path for monetization of something like that?
I'm going to attract an amazing partner who will help me fund this.
Okay.
That's what I will attract.
Okay.
I'm on Sirius XM. I have a whole radio show, Bevelations, that I've had for 10 years. And they have Pandora. So I could have gone over there to take a meeting and say, listen, I want to do this. Will you guys put me on Pandora? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah.
At least for a little while.
It's an interesting time to be in media. You see all sides of it, the independent side and then the corporate side, as talent and as an executive. And we're in this space right now. It's very sort of political with the budgets. You know, DE&I is being dismantled. Specifically, what's near and dear to me is Black-owned media. And they're being defunded essentially right now because there's such a reliance on advertising with Black-owned media.
Yeah.
And
we need to take it back.
We do. Yeah. We need to diversify the revenue streams. We need to actually take it back to think the audience and the community. And that's what we've done with Her Agenda. 18 years we've been around. The advertisers are great, but they come and go. They're very fickle. What has stayed true is our audience and our community. And that's actually how we're still here. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And people need to hear that. Everyone that's out there chasing these deals, they need to hear that. We need to be building community.
Yeah.
The corporations will not save us, but community will.
Yeah.
That's what we had. Like, that's the way John Johnson built the Ebony Magazine publishing empire. You know what I mean? That's the way Bob Johnson built and Sheila Johnson built BET.
Yep.
That's how Sheila, from TV One. Why am I drawing?
Kathy
Hughes built TV One.
Look at me saying Kathy like I know her.
Yeah,
I said
you know Kathy, girl. Yeah, that's the way Kathy Hughes built, TV One. So we already have the blueprint. We know it can be done. But we have become so reliant on corporate dollars.
Yep.
And we don't understand that it's great, but then we can be run by corporate dollars. That's why shout out to Roland Martin, shout out to Don Lemon, shout out to Joanne Reed, shout out to Native Land Podcast. But all the folks that are like, I'm gonna go on ahead and I'm gonna trust that the audience wants me, and they want me so much that they are willing to support me and pay for the message.
Are you seeing any conversations or are you talking to any executives that do hold budgets and decision makers to kind of tell them about themselves, about being intentional where they're spending these ad dollars?
Well, I'm not reading the kids, but what I am doing is...
I mean, there's a way to do it without attacking people. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, well, here's what I'm going to say about that. I don't really want to work with people who don't want to work with me.
Okay.
So I'm selecting the people that I want to work with. So every brand that I work with actually has to be a part of brand Bevy. So I'm not just taking a check.
Okay.
You have to want to be a part of my system, my universe, the Bevy Smith universe. So if you want to do a dinner with Bevy, then I want you to also sponsor a Dining with Bevy Life with Vision. Or I want you to give me some money towards In Bed with Bevy. Yeah. Or, it gets greater later when I create that platform, which is going to be totally separate. So that's what I'm looking for the clients, the brands that I work with. I'm not just looking for a check. I just had a conversation with a client the other day, a couple of days ago, actually. And we're doing something together. And when she sent me over the invitation, it just had my name on it. I said, oh, no, it needs to be the branded part of who I am. Okay. Because this is great. I'm getting paid to do this, but I can't just get a check. It has to be more than just a check. Yeah. It has to be facilitating to build my brand.
Exactly.
Continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to even how you were in the beginning days, where you just stayed true to your convictions and you didn't let just outside forces or outside perception sway your decisions.
Yeah.
And so that's really important. One thing that I want to talk to you about is just, you've been here in this industry for so long. You've seen people burn out because they're chasing that bag. And also sometimes...
we don't believe in that.
Exactly. And sometimes it's cost them their credibility, sometimes their joy. And so what to you is the key to sustainability for entrepreneurs and creatives in this industry?
To thine own self be true. That's what Willie Shakespeare said, and that's what Bevy co-signs. To thine own self be true. You have to know who you are, which goes back to the red soul proposition. Who are you at your core?
Yeah.
Because if I can find out who I am at my core, and if I can identify my brand tenets and my principles, then I can just stay that course.
Yeah.
And then I can't deviate because I know what I stand for.
Yeah.
I know what I'm about. I know I know instantly if an opportunity is for me or if it's not. Like I did Page 6 TV, and I did that because it was a big, big show. It was nationally syndicated TV, which at that time was still the holy grail. As we see now, it seems to be a dying model. I'm going to say that it seems to be.
There's a place for it, I think.
I don't know about nationally syndication because it's expensive to do it. But, there's certainly a place for daytime TV. But my point is that I did Page 6 TV because everyone told me you have to do it because it's a big look and it's really national. You can do cable and all that kind of stuff all day long, but people still need to subscribe to something to be able to see you. Syndication, you turn on the TV and there I am. So it's a big look. I did it even though I wasn't interested in doing celebrity and pop culture gossip. I kept myself clean on the show.
Okay.
I didn't gossip. I gave color commentary around the gossip.
Okay.
But it still wasn't, but still, no. That's why it was a bad gig for me.
Okay.
It was a bad gig for me. And I learned from that. And from that, I learned so much. Like I learned the fact that, guess what? I really don't want to do a daily talk show.
That's a lot of energy.
It's a lot of work. I'm not really that interested in that. I learned that. I also confirmed that I'd rather talk to celebrities than about celebrities.
Okay. That's an interesting distinction, yeah.
Yeah. So I learned things from that gig. So even though I didn't enjoy it, I learned from it, and I certainly won't make those mistakes again. And it also is what led me to actually going out finally and pursuing acting.
Yes, we love to see it. I loved you on Harlem. That was such a great role for you.
Thank you.
And hopefully we see more. Is there any more coming up?
Have you not seen me in Alexis Batar?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh my gosh. You have to see that.
Yes.
It's a vertical series. You know the jewelry designer Alexis Batar.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
I don't.
Oh my God, it's amazing programming.
Okay. Where is it?
It's on Alexis Batar.
Okay.
It's on Instagram. It's vertical.
I'm going to look that up right after this show.
It's a vertical show, and it's really good. They actually won a Webby.
Okay.
But Iman has been in it. Laura Roach has been in it. Debbie Mazar. They take all these interesting New York kind of characters.
Yeah. And
they plop them into a series.
Okay. I'm looking at Robin here. She's our producer. She probably has seen it. She's very into the fashion and all of that.
Have you seen it? Yep. June Ambrose was on it. Yep.
Love that.
Yeah, so now I have a recurring role on that.
Okay.
And I play Aunt Geraldine, and my niece is Hazel, and I'm at odds with her boss, who is Margot. And it's a really wonderful series. Like, one of the episodes that I was on hit 1.5 million views.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really good. And again, it's something new and interesting. It's vertical programming.
Yeah. So you're jumping into like this new innovative space once again.
Ahead
of your time.
Come on now. But like that's what we should be doing, right? And it's acting. Like Alexis came to me and he was like, "Yeah, we want you to be Auntie Bevy." I was like, "No, it's not me though. It's a character. Name. I have a whole. That's not my niece."
Yeah.
Why would it be Auntie Bevy? No, it needs to be a whole character, and we make distinctions around her.
Yeah.
Like, she had a blonde updo, which is something I would never do.
Yeah. And you give them a backstory, even if that story is not on screen. You just have that when you come to the room.
Exactly.
Yes. We're winding down our time. I wish I could talk to you forever. But I do want to make sure we talk about your mantra.
It gets greater later.
Exactly. What I want to talk about, though, we know the mantra. We know the essence behind it. What I want to talk about is how the words came to you.
Okay.
Because we're big on mantras and mottos here. Our motto is no one ever slows her agenda. I have a whole story of how I even came up with that phrase. So what was the moment that those specific words came to you? Because there's a way you could do it, like maybe you were brainstorming, like I want a phrase or a mantra to coin my essence and my ethos. Or sometimes you might just be in the shower or on a walk and it just hits you. And
None of
this
that.
is it. So what was it?
It was a very tawdry beginnings. My friends and I were in Rhode Island one year, and we were watching, there used to be an HBO show called Hookers on Hunts Point. And there was a special called the Atlantic City edition. And there were two sex workers called Tia and Sunshine. And I can't remember which was which, but one of them was talking about what time of the day they like to come out to make the most money.
Okay.
And the other one said, well, I like to come out, after midnight because it gets greater later. And I said, it gets greater later. So at the time, we just cackled and kikied and we thought it was funny. But when I got into my new life, and I started to hit roadblocks after I quit the job, after I run out of money, and I started hitting roadblocks, I needed something to keep me going. And I thought about, it gets greater later. And I turned something that is, by the way, a very old school nightlife slogan.
Okay.
Like, because when you talk to if you talk to somebody that's like an 80-year-old hustler, they'll be like, yeah, it gets greater later. Like, that's a thing for them.
That makes sense.
I didn't know that. But I took it as an affirmation and as a mantra and as a prayer. So I've turned something, but Black folks, we are good for doing. We will take something and spin it on its ear. And so I took something that used to be a nightlife mantra for sex workers and their managers, and I've turned it into a positive affirmation to just say, keep going. It gets greater later.
That in and of itself is a metaphor for your life and everything. Right. So I'm so glad that I got this story because I was just like, how did she come up? I'm a big wordsmith. Yeah. Like, how did those words fall together in your brain?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Only crazy ass me.
All right.
But yeah, I loved it. And also too, and just another little point, and something I don't really talk about a lot, but I want to say it with you. My entire career is based off of the women that were in my neighborhood that I was like, they are so glamorous and fabulous. And those were the women that were the barmaids. That's what you used to call a female bartender. Okay. It would be called barmaids. And when I was a child, you could go into bars as a kid. Okay. Not to drink, but like if your mama was in there, not my mother, by the way. Let me just clear that up. My mother wasn't in no bars, in no local bars. But if someone you knew was in the bar, as a child, you could walk into a bar and come and say hello to somebody.
Okay.
And I just remember seeing these women, and they were glamorous. They were so well dressed. They knew everyone, but more importantly, everyone knew them. And they made everyone feel at home. So when you see me on TV hosting, when you hear me on the radio hosting, when you see me at Dinner with Bevy hosting, when you see me at Life with Vision hosting, anything you see me hosting, I'm trying to bring you in. Yeah. I'm trying to make you feel seen. I'm trying to give you a place and a space to feel comfortable.
Wow.
And it all stems from the barmaids of Harlem. And it gets greater later, y'all.
Yes, that's so beautiful. And subscribe to everything we believe in. You can't be what you can't see, right? And you saw the examples of women that were just comfortable in themselves and that created a space around them that made everybody else feel comfortable. And that's translated to everything that you do. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you for understanding that.
Of course.
Because not many people get it.
I get it. You know, a lot of my mentors have been that for me, like Ty Beauchamp. Watching you from afar, We don't, text and kiki, but maybe we will after this. And I really appreciate that because there's so much that you carry too. It looks easy and there's so much you carry along the way that people don't see. And despite that, for you to still have that spark and that joy and that positivity is something that actually I don't see a lot and I needed to see today. So thank you.
Thank you, my love. I really enjoyed this. I love chatting with you. And congratulations on 18 years.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Bevy, for being on the Her Agenda podcast. I am so thrilled for all of you to hear our conversation. Until next time.